Hello, it's Andy Graham, and I'm here and you're not. Why not? One of the things that I've been doing all my life is I have in my mind an idea of what is perfection. Okay, and so when you're designing something or you're an entrepreneur, you're kind of working always towards kind of a dreamy time back in my brain perfection thing, and it's kind of an interesting situation because right now it appears to me that a lot of people, their idea of perfection is not what mine is, right? I'm not understanding this, okay? Because they don't seem to be having it's more like whatever I can get away with, okay, is their idea of perfection. Instead of saying, how could I be the strongest person? How could I be the most handsome person? How can I be that? They're really being told from society what to live. And this is kind of a philosophy issue. It's been Plato had this idea of forms, okay? You have I've been using the term ideal situation, or when we were doing a lot of website work, we call it search engine optimization. I would kind of call it the optimized lifestyle. And then they got the term archetypes, and Tom Bellew was using this today. It made me think about it. But these words go across, and then of course you had Friedrich Nietzsche that talked about the Ubermensch or something like the Superman. So what does this have to do with anything? Well, in a way, you need a goal in life, right? If you have a goal, it's easier to get to it when you formulate a goal. Like I have a goal worksheet. It's up here on the wall even. Right there. Okay, but I like to keep things at my eyesight. These are all reminders. And but you have the best example of a person. What is the ideal person? Okay, and then you have best example of a family. Okay, a husband and wife and 2.2 kids, right? And then you have the best type of government, and that is something like Plato talked in the Republic and different things about that. I think that's a little bit kind of difficult. They're acting like they're going to change the whole world by coming up with an idea. That's not really the best way. In this book by Charles Murray, he was talking the American way of life. Okay, the American way of life was a very common phrase in the 1960s. So 1963. In a lot of ways, ever since John F. Kennedy was shot and Lyndon B. Johnson, Lyndon Johnson became president, he had this the Great Society or something like that, and he really mucked it up. Okay, he created a situation where they went from a non-welfare state to now we have third generation welfare, and the fathers won't marry the wife because they wouldn't get as much money on welfare, and the divorce rates, 50% of people are divorced. And then a second marriage is 60% of them get divorced. So the ideal marriage is not, in my opinion, achieved. Okay, but we have different ideas. We have different, and so in a way, what people do is they come up with a term that fits them. Okay, so to me, I know ideal person. Ideal is the word I like to use, but you could use forms like Plato. You can use archetypes. You can even the word instinct. Because see, in a way, the idea of instinct, which I truly believe it works. Okay, instinctually we make decisions using the subconscious part of our mind to protect us. Okay, and what's sad is when the instinctual part of a person is way off track. Okay, but they feel things. But when I'm talking to somebody, I continue talking when I feel safe that I can trust them. And I trust that completely. I call it my bullshit meter. But if the bullshit meter starts clinging, cling, 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 I realize I should stop talking because I don't trust this person, and I might get some ideas, but there's not much value in talking with a person that I don't trust. And there's so many people that are become untrustworthy. I would say, in from 1960 to right now, we had like a 50% reduction. While maybe in the 1960s or 1950s, you could pretty well shake hands and do business with the person probably say 50% of the time. Okay, now it's like 10% of the time. If it's what they can get away with, right? And it's really sad. Okay, but I want people to come up with a ideal. I want them to come up with the forms idea, the perfect prototype, the perfect ideal person. If I was talking to you and I sit there and said to you, explain to me the perfect family, okay, I would hope that you could give me your idea of that perfect thing. Because if we start out every project, everything we're doing, I mean, in a business, most entrepreneurs are trying to come up with the perfect idea. And there's a problem is there's also the perfect idea for society and the world, and there's the perfect idea to make money. Okay, and that to me they ought to coincide. The perfect thing for the world and the perfect way to make money ought to coincide. Okay, it shouldn't be I can make money, but it's at the naive nature of the buyer, right? That's just an evil person. One reason I'm no longer connected to the social network is I realized it wasn't making the world a better place, and I don't right now believe that social networks make the world a better place. I think they are great places to learn how to argue. Okay, and if anybody wants to argue with a bunch of people you don't know, I just don't understand it, right? It's not an evolutionary process where it gets, but we want to become the American way of life. We want to become the American dream. We want these things, okay? And anybody that is so cynical and denigrates, you should walk away from, because they are on, there's good people and bad people. That's all there is to it. And there's some people that want everything. They just got an anarchist point of view that the world needs to come to an end. And it's pretty sad, okay? And this is becoming a higher percentage, in my opinion. Okay, so I'm bringing this up today because whenever I'm doing something, I have my backpack. I'm always working to get the perfect backpack. I'm always working to have the perfect room. I'm always working to have the perfect way of walking. I broke my tibia on the front of my leg, and I broke my femur. So I have some gait problems, walking problems. So I'm always trying to come up. And I think I found the 3 exercises to make it so that I always walk great. And I know how now to force my body to walk great. Okay, but I'm always working on this. I'm always trying to work on the perfect diet. Okay, it's kind of funny on that. It's like the one addiction that I can't give up completely is food. I can give up smoking, drinking, drugs, all this stuff, girls, anything, but I cannot give up food completely. But think about the perfect form. And Sullivan, the Frank Lloyd Wright's mentor or whatever, said form follows function. So I'm always talking about this, and the thing is that the form of a situation, how things look, has to follow how they function. In a lot of ways, these things are connected at the thing. A lot of things look really beautiful, but they don't function. Okay, a lot of AI stuff. An AI, when they write an article, an AI writes it. Its form seems really good, but it's like literally removes the functional part of it, the triggers that make people think. They take away the illusions. It just wipes it clean, makes it really easy to read and really easy to forget. I can read some articles. I go, that guy didn't try to say anything. That woman didn't try to say anything. She just wanted to be lovable. And a lot of people like a lovable person, but they don't realize that their life didn't change from that. So what is the ideal person? Ideal person to me is a person that's a little bit challenging, okay? They have ideas and they're willing to say, well, what do you think about this? And, give you that off-the-wall question. And they do things that are not, that are spontaneous, not predictable. But what is the ideal family? To me, it's a mother and father and living in a city less than 30,000 people with a 2-car garage and a big yard, and every neighbor is looking out for their children, okay? And they go to sports, they play sports, basketball, homecoming queen. This to me is the ideal situation. Okay, and I will die believing that. Okay, anything else, gender-wise and all that stuff, I think is a problematic situation. You really want to fit in the middle of everything. Okay, you want to be the ideal is normally something that everybody sort of feels is a good idea. Um, Kind of simple on the family thing. If you don't have this husband and wife thing, it's the end of society, right? We will no longer have people. Okay, the American way of life. So we got archetypes, prototypes, theory of forms, instinct. And I got a link here, and I'll have all these terms, whatever. And I realized that the ideal way to study or watch a video is when when you're watching a video, you can hit like on PC, I can hit a K and it'll stop the video, and I can take notes. And the fact that you stop and write it down, even if you throw away the paper, but that takes it into double the amount of knowledge that you are assimilating into your brain. I'm finding that so many people are just only in entertainee mode. They're only listening, one ear out the other. Nothing sticks. So I often, I always watch. There's certain actors or actresses that I really want to remember their names, so I stop the thing and I write it down and I'll repeat it, because it's really easier to talk about different films if you can remember the actors and the name of the film, right? I told my nephew, I said he's a director on films, and I said, please, Colin, put at the end of the movie the name of the film, because sometimes we turn on a film and Showtime or something, and we don't know what the name of the film is, but we're just watching it and we enjoy it. We get clear to the end, we have no idea what it is. They go switching all over the place, and we can't even say what film we watched. And I said, you got to do it at the beginning and at the end, and do it like 3 or 4 times. Be like a preacher and say it enough that we actually remember the name of the film. Okay, I'm always talking about the ideal situation, the ideal television series, the ideal spacecraft, the ideal website, the ideal of everything. But I call them ideal. Plato calls them forms. You can call them prototypes. Tom Bailu calls it archetypes. And vocabulary, the more words we have to explain something, the more we understand something. So sometimes I'll just take in this chat GTP and say, give me 300 synonyms of this word. And then I think of all the comparative differences of it. Okay, and there's probably the ideal AI. I want to have about 10 of them on my thing so I can switch back and forth and use the best part of all of them. Okay, I'm Andy Lee Graham. Hit the subscribe button. I have a Patreon channel, and once I get up to 1,500, I decided that I don't really need more than that much money, but I'm going to choose specific projects. Like I had this chalkboard project that I gave chalkboards to children, and I made chalkboards in the community, public chalkboards, and these kids would play on them and write and draw pictures and stuff. And I'm going to do that, and I'll do a bunch of things, and I'll keep working on projects where there's primo non nocere, first do no harm, because I will not harm a culture. And that's one reason why I'm not telling anybody my specific cities where I'm living, because I found in my shame that I've turned paradise into a parking lot way too many times, and I'm sorry. And a lot of the people that are traveling are not upstanding people, and they're anonymous trolls, right? And that is the antithesis of the ideal. Okay, life is good, guys. I'm here and you're not. Hit the subscribe button and become a Patreon. That gives you the ability to believe that I'm going to reply to an email and talk to you on the phone sometime, and different things according to the level of Patreon you are. And I like people a lot, but I really want the ideal friendships, right? Life is good.